Hello dear students, this is your English teacher Qaisar Bashir. Hope you are all well. Dear students, in the previous video, I did the reading of the poem The Season of the Plains written by Agha Shahid Ali. I hope you have enjoyed listening to it. Dear students, in today's video, I am going to talk about the poem in detail. Let's get started. Dear students, Agha Shahid Ali, born on February 4, 1947 in Srinagar, was a Kashmiri American poet. He was educated at the University of Kashmir and in Delhi before going to the US for a PhD and a career as a poet and a teacher. He was one of the most loved poets of his time. Most of his poems are not abstract thoughts, but rather concrete descriptions of events of personal and political importance. He had an intense interest in geography, and he often blended the landscapes of America with those of his native Kashmir. Critics consider him as the first resistance poet of Kashmir, writing in English language. Dear students, he has written 9 poetry collections. However, his important poetic works include: Number 1, Call Me Ishmael Tonight, a book of ghazals. Number 2, Rooms Are Never Finished. Number 3, The Country Without a Post Office. Dear students, this is one of the brilliant collections of poetry. Read it and see how he describes the plight of Kashmir in this poetic collection. Number 4, A Walk Through the Yellow Pages. Number 5, The Beloved Witness. Number 6, The Half-Inch Himalayas. Dear students, The Season of the Plains, taken from the Half-Inch Himalayas, records the agony of separation experienced and felt by those who are living away from their homeland. Absence of a particular something in exile, here the monsoon season acts as a trigger for longing and nostalgia. Agha Shahid Ali lived most of his life outside his homeland Kashmir and breathed his last in America. And this, that is, Agha Shahid's living away from Kashmir, gives the poem a personal touch and reminds us readers as to how painful his life might have been whenever the thoughts of his homeland Kashmir would pass through his mindscape. Dear students, the poet's mother, who was born in Lucknow and married in Kashmir, takes a trip down her memory lane and expresses how badly she misses her past, especially the moments she lived in Lucknow and the rain in monsoon season there, which does not occur in Kashmir, because in Kashmir there are 4 clear seasons. His mother keeps listening to the Banaras Tumri singers, who sing of longing and separation. The monsoon is a season of relief and enjoyment for children, who drench themselves in the rain after the scorching summer heat. But for lovers who have to hide their love from the societies which do not encourage love between lovers because of social, religious and moral sanctions, the rain intensifies their feelings of separation. The poet becomes curious whether his mother longed for somebody, especially during the monsoon in her hometown. His mother says nothing to this, but hummed his lament and said, "The monsoons never cross the mountains into Kashmir." Dear students, let's now try to understand certain phrases that the poet has used in the poem. Number 1, Soaking their utter summer. Dear students, here the poet refers to the children who spill out of their homes, come out of their homes and enjoy the monsoon rain. They get fully drenched and it makes them happy because it brings relief from the summer's scorching heat. Number 2, Forbidden Love. By this phrase, the poet wants to say that love such as existed between Heer and Ranjha, is not allowed to be encouraged between young men and women in societies because of social, religious, and moral sanctions. And when the restrictions are stricter, the intensity of love between lovers grows. Dear students, if you want to know about the legendary story of Heer and Ranjha, link is given in the description. Click on the link and enjoy reading the story. Number 3. Keep raising soft necks of ash. Dear students, by this phrase, the poet says that like the incense sticks that even while dying keep raising their soft necks of ash, the lovers do not give up the hope of meeting their loved ones till the last minute of their lives. Dear students, let me now talk about the theme of separation in the poem. The theme of separation has been dealt with in the poem at 2 levels. Number 1. Separation from homeland. Separation from homeland is an intensely painful experience. The poet's mother finds the beautiful seasons of Kashmir painfully wanting, because unlike Lucknow, no monsoons occur in the valley. She keeps listening to Siddheshwari and Rasulan, who sing tumores of longing when the rains come. Number 2. Separation in love. Dear students, this type of separation is unbearable, and the people most affected by this separation are lovers. However, the rains become a reason and they meet again. Now, dear students, there is a line in the poem, "The monsoons never cross the mountains into Kashmir." Dear students, you might be wondering what actually the poet wants to say or communicate through this line. Yes, through this line, the poet may be trying to say that the climatic conditions of Kashmir refuse to cope up with the climatic conditions of India. That even the geography of Kashmir is not willing to mix with India. That even seasons of Kashmir resist the infiltration of monsoon. Now, let me talk about the poetic devices used by the poet in the poem. Number 1. Personification. What is personification? Dear students, the attribution of human characteristics to something non-human or the representation of an abstract quality in human form is called personification. The example of personification in the poem is: burn sticks of jasmine that dying keep raising soft necks of ash. Allusion. What is allusion? Dear students, allusion in literature is an implied or indirect reference to a person, event, or thing, or to a part of another text. The example of allusion in the poem are: Number 1. Siddheshwari and Rasulan. Dear students, they are masters of Hindustani classical music. Number 2. The invisible blue god. Dear students, it's a reference to Krishna, a major deity in Hinduism and the 8th avatar of the god Vishnu. Number 3. Heer and Ranjha. Dear students, it's a reference to a famous sad love story from Punjab, written by Waris Shah. Visual imagery. What is visual imagery? Dear students, visual imagery is a form of poetic imagery wherein the poet appeals to the reader's sense of sight by describing something the speaker or narrator of the poem sees. It may include colors, brightness, shapes, sizes, and patterns. The example of visual imagery in the poem are: Number 1. The blue god. Number 2. Soft necks of ash. Number 3. Children. Number 4. Rain. Number 5. Sticks of jasmine. Tone of the poem. Dear students, the tone in the poem is nostalgic and melancholic, as the poem deals with separation and longing. The tone is reinforced by the imagery of incense stick. Assessment. Where had the poet's mother spent her childhood? Why have the singers' voices been described as being full of longing? Explain the phrase love forbidden. Explain the phrase soaking their utter summer. She played the old records of the Banaras Tumri singers. Who is the she referred to in the line? Who is the invisible blue god referred to in the poem? Dear students, this was all about the poem.